Welcome. In front of me I have the newly released Samsung Galaxy A36, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the specs and also a comparison to the higher end version of this phone, which will be the A56, and with a little bit of mentions to the S lineup. So let's just get straight into it. We have a couple pull tabs right here. There we go. So here we have our phone. The interesting little cover. Peeling that off, we can boot up the device. So here we have our charging cable. You can see charging cable Type-C to Type-C and paperwork, so I'm not even gonna take it out. Instruction or quick start guide, and that's about it. So couple things that I want to kind of point out, which both the A36 and 56 don't really have, which is any kind of screen protection pre-applied, which most cheaper phones from other brands that are not Samsung or Apple usually come with a pre-applied screen protector. Samsung, on the other hand, side, you just need to buy it. So with that in mind, let's talk about first thing, which will be the build quality of the device. So right off the bat, it has a bit noticeable quality change from the A56, as the A56, if I bring it up, comes with a aluminum frame right here, which you can feel that it's just tougher. Obviously when you drop it, it will be more resistant to like cracking the glass back, as I think that's actually glass, or the screen, while this phone will come with a plastic one. So obviously this is a noticeable difference that you feel in hand. It does feel less premium than the A56. Then on the back, I am pretty sure this is plastic back. Oh no, sorry, it's actually glass back, Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, which is also what the front has. So same kind of glass type as at the front and the back. But yeah, we have plastic frame and body. And let's talk about the display, which has noticeable bezels, specifically when you compare it to something like the S lineup. Now side by side, let's see if we have any kind of bezel difference. So it looks like, to my eye, it looks about the same, to be honest. The only difference that I can see is that the plastic frame has a little bit thicker frame in itself. So the aluminum one will have technically smaller screen to body ratio, just or higher one, I guess. Basically the screen will look bigger compared to the area that isn't the screen, just because the aluminum frame is a little bit thinner compared to the plastic one by the looks of it. So you can kind of see it side by side. So that might be noticeable to you. Now if we compare it to something like the S lineup, let me just kind of pin up something that will be visible. There we go. You can see the bezels right here. They are noticeably thinner compared to the A lineup. So the display right here is a Super AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate and a peak brightness of 1900 nits with a 86.5% screen to body ratio and a pixel density of 385 pixels per inch, which puts it at 1080 by 2340 pixels resolution, and like I mentioned before, Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. So the display right here for a basically about $400 device is actually pretty good. This display will be really nice. One thing that it's missing right here, from what I can see, is any kind of certification like HDR10 Plus, which the A56 actually comes with. Now, if we flip it over to the back, you will see the camera setup in this kind of weird looking design right here. So that's Samsung's new kind of approach, probably to differentiate the S lineup from the A lineup, as second just to bring it back. You can see how the cameras look on here. It also has this kind of this edge right here that dirt can get under. Possibly this could be maybe popped off, just like the little lenses right here are, but I guess that's remain to be seen once Jerry gets to this. Now, the cameras right here will be a 50 megapixel f1.8 aperture wide sensor. Then we get an 8 megapixel ultra wide and 5 megapixel macro, which I think it's the same one. Oh, no, never mind. So the A56 actually has just a little bit bigger ultra wide. Instead of 8 megapixel, it is going to be 12 megapixel. So if you take ultra wide photos, also that might be a better option for you than the cheaper version of this phone. I personally don't really care about ultra wide, so to me it's not really a improvement, as I would usually just use the wide sensor, which are the same. So moving on, with these cameras we can record videos up to 4K 30 frames or 1080p 60. And then at the front you have a 12 megapixel f2.2 aperture wide sensor that does also 4K 30 and 1080p 30 only, while the A56 will do 1080p 60 with the selfie, and the back does the same thing. So camera wise they are very close, not much of a difference there. Now if we go into the internals of this device, we have a 5000 mAh battery, which surprisingly enough, even though this is a more budget version, charges at 45 watts through a cable. No wireless charging though, but still 45 watts. Interestingly enough, it charges faster than the S25. What the hell, Samsung? Why are you shafting me like this? You spend more on a premium phone that charges at 25 watts. Are you kidding me here? Come on. Typical Samsung things, I guess. So still 45 watts is good for a budget device like this one from Samsung. It's honestly like outstanding, considering that's how fast the S25 Ultra charges at. So it's very surprising that this one actually charges at this speed, if that is correct. And now all the data that I'm getting is from GSM Arena, I should also point out. And they are pretty good at the information, so I do believe that this would be correct, but still pretty shocking to have a phone that actually charges faster than the S lineup. Now, talking about charging speed though, 45 watts isn't necessarily like super fast charging, as Samsung would like you to believe. There are phones that charge at 130 watts, or 120 at least I know for certain, and 45 watts just seems like a slow charging next to that. So I do want to kind of clarify this, as even the S25 Ultra charges at 45 maximum speed, so these are not as impressive charging speeds if you actually consider that there are other phones that exist on the market. For some reason, the biggest brands like Samsung and Apple just refuse to give you fast charging. I don't know what the hell is happening there. But continuing on, more noticeable downgrade here in this device will be the processor, which is the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, compared to the 56, which actually comes with an Exynos 1580. Now that processor is going to be on the higher end version faster than this, so that is one of the bigger noticeable differences between these devices, the actual speed of it. So Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. We also have either 6 gigabytes of RAM, let's just call base entry price of this device, so 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, and you can spec it up to 256 and 12 gigs of storage, or of RAM. Now, when it comes to like the storage upgrades, there is no expandable storage, unfortunately, so you get either 128 gigabytes of storage or 256, which both of these are low, especially if you consider that 256 is the highest storage capacity that they offer. Now 256 is what most phones come nowadays by default as a low end version and can go up to like a terabyte. This on the other hand side goes like low or lowest and low. So that's a bit of a kind of, you know, yucky thing to do. And obviously this is designed so you can't enjoy this phone for long because you will most likely run out of storage. And guess what? That will force you to upgrade to the S lineup, which comes with up to a terabyte of storage. So it's a kind of a scummy Samsung move to do this. It's done deliberately. Also, not providing you expandable storage on a budget phone is a kind of like a middle finger, as typically low-end or mid-range devices like this should have expandable storage. Most do, but Samsung decided to lower that storage and not give you expandable storage, which is the same exact thing that the higher version of this, the A56, did as well. So no difference there, to be honest. And I think that basically sums up most of the device. So for about $400 device, you get a pretty solid device, all in all. The only downsides here are the relatively low storage options, as 128 or 256 aren't necessarily the greatest. And the honestly pretty slow processor that you get in this device, both of those to be honest, the A56 and 36, both of these phones have a slow processor. The upside is you get a 6 years of major Android upgrades, so you're set for 6 next years at least. And basically you're getting up to like what, Android 21, assuming they don't change the naming schemes. So that's pretty good. And the device automatically out of the box already comes with the One UI 7, which is one of the selling points for also the S lineup. So the A1 gets the same treatment with the new One UI, which gives you also the AI features. I don't know if they give you also a free like 6 months Gemini as the S lineup did, and end of the year like Galaxy AI features. So that's something that you might need to look into, but it does support it. So that's a benefit. Now, I do want to kind of point out one thing. Like I said, the device itself isn't bad. You get decent Android upgrades and all that stuff. But for $400, you can do definitely better if you're not hell-bent on getting a Samsung. And there are other phones, for instance, recently released Nothing phone. The Nothing phone, what is it, 3A Pro, which I believe comes at about the same price. Let's see. So we have two different Nothing A phones. So the 3A Pro will come at $450. So it's just between these two, literally a middle point of the A36 and 56. And you get a definitely faster phone compared to both of those devices, with again no expandable storage and storage options about the same as these two devices have, with up to 256 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. So no difference there. But where it actually does differ in terms of the Pro version is the cameras, as it has a 50 megapixel f1.9 aperture wide sensor, then another 50 megapixel f2.6 aperture 70 millimeter periscope telephoto, and that supports 3 times optical zoom, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide. So with that in mind, you get a better camera setup than you get on these devices. And to be fair though, you get 3 years of major Android upgrades over the 6 one that both of the Samsung that I keep talking about do support. But still a pretty good alternative if you're not hell-bent on getting a Samsung and you want something that might be providing with a little bit more speed and better cameras. So highly recommend checking that out. And obviously if you want something cheaper, the Nothing Phone 3A non-Pro will be cheaper, as it's like $330 US dollars, something along those lines. And it also comes with dual 50 megapixel wide and telephoto, and about very similar specifications all in all. Just the cameras are a little bit more downgraded compared to the Pro. So anyway, I highly recommend checking that out if, like I said, you're not hell-bent on getting the Samsung, as Nothing Phone will provide you with a better value for money. So with that being said, hopefully you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.